Hi, I'm John Bailey. Today I want to talk to you about market value. And what is market value? A homeowner might come to me and say, well, gosh, my home is worth X amount of dollars. A buyer may come and say, well, I don't think it's worth X, I think it's worth Y. A real estate appraiser may come along and say, no, it's worth Z. Well, but those are opinions. Typically, a real estate appraiser will certify that there's reasonable value to substantiate what a buyer is willing to pay. Unless, of course, the seller calls and orders an appraisal on the home, and the appraiser goes out there and then he goes into the marketplace and at best pulls comparable sales and hopes that he can arrive at a dollar figure which is within range. So if we say, fine, it's worth between this, and typically most homeowners are reasonable and they expect that the home will have a value between here, and a buyer will come in, and if they make an offer on the home, it's going to be somewhere in that same range. Typically speaking, there's always exceptions to every rule. But how do you know when you have absolute value? Well, before I go there, let me talk a moment about my father. God rest his soul. He gave me what he thought was market value on his home, and this is many, many years ago, and he said that he thought it was worth maybe $150,000. And I don't really know what the number was he pulled, but I said, Dad, stop and think. I said, your home was only worth $16,000 because that's what you paid for it in 1963. And until someone pays you more, it really isn't worth more. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't have tangible value. An insurance company would come along and, God forbid, it had a claim on the home. They would say, yes, it's worth X amount of dollars based on replacement cost. But in the eyes of a buyer, in terms of market, absolute value, in the event that the highway department came and said, we're going to build a highway right through the middle of your home and we're only going to offer you $10. And you say, no, I want $100 billion for the house. Well, you go to court. When the judge swings his gavel, that is absolute value because it's already met the test of court and you're not going to go any further. You can't. But in the meantime, buyers and sellers typically agree on values as they negotiate back and forth. So a buyer will say, I think it's worth this, and the seller says, okay, I think it's worth that, and I'll take it. Or, the buyer says, all right, I'll pay that. That's the same thing with automobiles. Every dealer will tell you that they're going to give you back money if you find a better deal somewhere else, and they can't all do that. So there has to be a market somewhere, and as you go back and forth with values. And that's typically what it is. Now, we don't negotiate prices in the grocery store. You don't go in and buy a dozen eggs and come out and say, well, gosh, it's not worth this, I'll pay you that. But they'll do that with tomatoes because there's a shelf life for tomatoes. But we're dealing with homes, and homes aren't tomatoes. There are homes that have been on the market for quite some time. It's more important as a seller that you price your home according to actual market and then be realistic about it. And then if an offer comes in, understand that the market conditions may change in a moment's notice. And if it's in your best interest to take the offer, take it and go. Thank you very much, and I do appreciate your time.